Frank, I talked to Brad earlier, and rather than us asking a bunch of questions, I said, I tell you what, you're a 5-time Hall of Fame producer. I'm going to let you talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, and you can just share what you do with our group. That's all we're looking for. So,
all right.
Absolutely.
Brad, it is all you, man. I appreciate you being on. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Frank. So, hi, everybody. My name's Brad Allan. I am in sunny Arizona, moved here a couple of years ago to take care of my family. One of the wonderful things about our business is we can do this from anywhere. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be with you guys, and I'll pour into you as best I can. So I had never sold anything before I came to FFL. As a matter of fact, I'd been licensed for 14 months. I had been with 2 practice companies that were over 100 years old, big names, like massive names, super successful. But I had been there 14 months, never sat with a client, never made a sale. So that's the first thing you should know about me is I don't quit. Think about going 14 months without making a sale. Most of you would not still be sitting here listening to Mike if you went 14 months. I can't even imagine that anymore. When I got to FFL, they said, so you can buy leads. And I said, well, what's a lead? They said, what do you mean? It's like, like a lead is when somebody asks for your help. It's like, wow, that's fantastic. I've never seen a lead before. How many can I buy? And they're like, well, what are you talking about? As many as you want. So this is probably the first key to my success personally, is that when I set up a lead program, I have it pushed to me. I don't have to remember to pull it from somebody. So when I started, it was EverQuote, which is essentially the same as an internet life lead out of the ILC. Same, right? It's just a volume play. And what you'll do is you don't focus on the noise, you focus on the gold nuggets. So it's like crap, silver, gold, silver, bronze, crap, silver, gold, right? And so you just you filter out the noise, you focus on the gold and the silver and the bronze, and you just are thankful that, all it is effort. There's basically no skill. It's just like you're putting in massive effort. And so I started and sold my first policy July 15th, 2018. And in the fall of 2018, I was fortunate enough to go to Athene corporate headquarters in Des Moines, Iowa with Amy Mickelson. And I was just starstruck. She was the #1 agent at the time. And I was, a little beside myself. I was, I was a fan. Let me just put it that way. And I found a way to sit next to her on the bus. And I worked up all the courage that I could. And I just how do you do it? Right? And she's like, consistency. And I said, okay. There's got to be more, right? There has to be more. I spent weeks in my mind building up to this question, and I get one word. Come on, man, throw me a bone. And so I said, well, what else? And she's like, nope, that's it. Which, by the way, that is it. You have to be consistent. So it's like you crank up the volume, you break the knob, and you throw it in the ocean. There's no time off. You're the boss. Nobody's calling time out on their business when they're winning. And the only way you get to winning is you don't take time off. There's time to rest when you're dead. At least that's the way I looked at it. So when I started, I just went all in. For about 3 weeks. I made $19,000 in 3 weeks, and I had gone 14 months without sitting with someone. So I was just so happy. And then I got arrogant, and I thought I could just turn it on and turn it off. Big mistake. It's like Mike was saying, momentum is so important. Respect momentum. When you've got it, that's when you step on the gas and you run up the score. Kobe Bryant did not run out of bounds as he's running in to score the game-winning point. That would be idiotic. So when you're winning, that's when you step on the gas, right? That's super important. So push lead flow, find your budget. You really only buy one set of leads if you're doing it right. Because when you buy a set of leads and you get paid, that's your small business loan to fund your business. So your clients buy the rest of your leads forevermore. If you crank up the volume, break the freaking knob and throw it in the ocean, you'll never pay for another lead. Your clients do, right? There's no timeouts. So I get through 2018, I did 80K. I was pretty much a knucklehead, thought I could turn it on, turn it off. In 2019, and I was drinking at the time. In 2019, Matt Smith, my upline, on Valentine's Day, he called me and he said, hey, dude, I think you could actually be good at this. Maybe, dare I say, better than me. And if you know Matt doesn't say that. And so I'd only talked to him like once in 8 months because he was my upline, right? And he's calling me and he's basically calling me out. He said, whatever your distraction is, you got to figure it out. I mean, if you can figure out your distraction, you're going to be pretty good at this. And so my wife had told me to quit drinking for years, but that didn't seem to matter. When Matt Smith, a complete stranger, said, hey, dude, figure it out, I was honest with myself and my distraction was drinking. So that day I stopped. Haven't had a drink since. I was number 106 in the country, February 14th, 2019. And I set my sights on being in the top 100. And that happened by June. And then it was top 50. That happened by September. Then it was like, well, now I'm just going to see where I land. I ended up number 6. That was for 2019, got in the Hall of Fame. And I've never stopped since. I said, well, now I'll just double it, because I was a knucklehead. I'm leaving opportunities on the table. I'm not working as hard as I could. By the way, don't hold something back and say, well, I didn't give it my all, so I could have made it if I would have given it my all. That's just a trick. You're head faking yourself. Why lie to yourself? This is your business. There's no reserve tank. This is like you give it what you've got. No excuses, no shortcuts. So I said to myself, and I actually put it on social media, I'm going to do $1 million. Nobody had ever said that. That was ludicrous. Nobody had ever done it. Nobody certainly was going to be dumb enough to say it out loud. But you know me, I mean, I'm a little courageous and a lot stupid. So I stepped out there. I said, sure, I'll do it, $1 million. And I did 1.1. And then I just, once you run a 4-minute mile, anything less is kind of just you're slacking, right? Once you've cracked the code on how to hit 1 million, you better damn well hit 1 million. Either that or grow a big team like Mike and Frank are doing. Don't ask me about building a team. I'm the wrong guy. My team, I love my team, but it's not a huge team. So I'm here to help you with like how to have a huge pin. It starts with focus. You have to be focused and you have to stay focused. I remember when I was in banking, there was a town hall meeting with the COO Steve Rotella. He said, I went from the mailroom to the boardroom, remembering this slogan, mailroom to boardroom. He was like on the board of directors for Washington Mutual Bank. At the time, it was the number 5 bank in the country. He said, focus and execute, which if you think about it, it's basically attitude and activity. Focus is your attitude. Whatever you're focusing on is going to grow. If you're focusing on positivity and you're going to crush it and nothing's going to distract you, good or bad, no drama, no negativity, no victims, whatever you're focusing on is going to grow. And once you focus, you have to execute. It's not complicated. It's not just ready, aim, sometimes fire. There's no ready. It's just aim, fire, aim, fire, right? Focus and execute. And by themselves, they're ineffectual. If all you do is focus and never execute, you're just like, I don't know what you're doing. You're way too analytical. And if all you do is execute with no focus, you probably won't hit the mark. But it's really that simple. You need to focus and you need to execute. So after 2019, that was my first full year in the field. I had written 2 annuities in 2018 in the 6 months. And then I tripled my volume and I wrote 6 in 2019. In 2020, I wrote 72. And then I've been writing in the 70s. They don't all issue, just like anything else. You do all the work. That doesn't mean you're going to get paid. But I'll tell you what, once you get an annuity to issue, the chargeback ratio is like 0.0 something, right? People just removed their risk. They're not super excited to reintroduce risk. So like, I get this question all the time, Mike, how do you find them? It's the financial inventory. I don't have a special wand. I'm just sitting with more people. That's it. And I'm asking better questions. That's it. So I run mortgage leads. I run Medicare leads. I do, instant internet, final expense. I have recently started to buy annuity leads, but I wouldn't recommend it to start off with. You don't need to, for one, they're expensive for another, and there's no guarantees anywhere. So here's how you find an annuity. If you're taking notes, this would be a good time to start. So there's two questions that I never pass up when I'm doing my financial inventory. It's the silver and the gold. You probably know the gold, maybe, but you probably don't know the silver. So let me break it down for you. When I sit down with somebody, I build rapport for half a second. I don't show up with a 3-ring binder. I actually run appointments in tennis shoes, golf shorts, and a polo shirt. And I move like 14 million bucks looking like I'm going golfing. It doesn't matter what you look like. It matters how you come across. You meet people where they are, emotionally, physically, hopefully. Physically is easier. Emotionally, physically, financially, in every way, connect with them, build rapport for half a second. You're not there to visit. And when I start my financial inventory, it's like, all right, so Artemis, what's your household income? 5K. All right, great. That's after tax? Yeah. And house payment, boom. Utilities, car payment, car insurance, credit cards, food, cell phone, boom. Okay, so you spend 4K a month, right? You got 1K left over. I've sat with thousands of people. I promise I won't put you outside your budget. We're going to keep your monthly premium about 10 to 15% of your discretionary income. So we're looking for something, biggest bang for the buck, 100 to 150 bucks. That sound fair? Sure. All right. So now we know your budget. We just don't know who's going to take it. Hey, by the way, Artemis, liquid cash, money in the bank. If you look any given Tuesday, what do you normally see? All in, checking, savings. I don't know, about 120K. Boom. That was the silver question. I ask it for 3 reasons. Number one, if you don't answer, you don't trust me, and I need to stop and I need to rebuild trust, because the rest of the appointment's going to be really rocky if you don't trust me. Number 2, any recommendation I'm going to make, if you don't even have $100 in the bank, there's something wrong. You're supposed to have 1,000 and you've got 50. Maybe you're lying and you don't trust me, or maybe you've got a habit that I don't know about that's not a reoccurring bill. There's a problem here. And the third is, if you don't ask the question, you're never going to get the answer of, I've got $128,000 sitting in the bank. It's like, well, then the follow-up question is, was this an inheritance? Are you a saver? I mean, what do you have that earmarked for? Are you buying some property? Nope. I got an inheritance. Family member passed away a year ago. I'm just not quite sure what to do with it. And I just take note of that, because that's a non-qualified annuity opportunity that most of you are probably missing. When somebody's just got excess cash in the bank next to an orphan 401k, that's like the easiest annuity to write in the world, because they're just writing a check, right? Then you have to show that value exceeds the perceived price, right? They have to trust you. And when value exceeds price, people move money. People move money with people they trust when they see that value has exceeded price, but not if they don't trust you. So you have to be building that rapport and that trust all the way along. And it's the questions you ask and how you ask them. So that's the silver question. Basically, liquid cash. Are you a saver? How much money, if you look in the bank, do you normally see? So now the gold question is the next question that maybe some of you know about, some of you may not. And it's like, hey, Artemis, what do you have that acts like insurance if you were to pass that would be left behind for family? Like a 401k or a 403b, maybe an IRA, stocks or bonds, something like that. Do you have any annuities in the house? Life insurance that you own, not through your employer, because if you owned it, you would have a policy. So I don't, I've heard everything. If you think you owe the one at work, then you would have a policy, and I know you don't, because I've sat in thousands of these. So I only talk to people about stuff they actually own. So let's focus on that. So I know your budget, and I'm not talking about health at all, because everybody's buying on price. Everybody thinks they're healthy until they find out they're not. And so then you go down to the next part, and it's like, how's your health? Any heart attack, stroke, cancer? You deal drugs? You on your way back from Yemen? I kind of try to have fun with people. No, I'm not a drug dealer. I don't even know where Yemen is, right? But I'm figuring out what I can actually do to help them. I don't really want to leave a house without leaving them in a better spot for having met me. Whether I'm validating what they already have, or I'm pulling some value out. Maybe I recruited them. Maybe I put a little accidental. It could be anything, right? You're trying to find some value for your time. And then when I do actually uncover money, let's say it's non-qualified in the bank, or it could be qualified in an orphan 401k. I just let them know. So here's the thing, Artemis, you know how interest works, right? It's like, yeah, kinda. Okay, well, so you've got like the coffee can in the backyard, that's no interest, but it's super safe because you're the one that buried it. So nobody's going to find it. So it's safe, right? And then one step up from that, that's like your money in the bank. Basically still no interest, 0.0001. It's a coffee can with FDIC written on it. That's great. It's safe. Then the step up from that would be like a money market, CD, bond, and then indexing, and then the stock market. So I specialize in protecting and growing assets. That's what I do for a living, is I protect assets. And so right below the market is indexing. It participates in the market's upside, but it does not get caught up in the market downside. And I get asked this question all the time. How is that even possible? Well, Artemis, let me tell you, they're option contracts being managed by hundreds of analysts managing the index for thousands of clients. I'm a broker with many, many A-rated carriers. One, let me talk about Athene. Athene, backed by Goldman Sachs, they're super safe, 100% liquidity by law, and they have 250 billion of assets under management, and they win awards for what they're doing. But you've got people managing an index for you if you were to go into that, just like they do for everyone else. They're option contracts. So I always point out some object in their house. Could be a placemat, could be a picture, could be a cup of coffee. I don't care. I mean, just pick something. And let's say that, Artemis, I'm sitting with you and you're having a Mountain Dew. And it's like, see, Artemis, that Mountain Dew right there, I'm going to give you $1 and I will reserve the option to buy that Mountain Dew can for $5,000. Not today, but tomorrow. And so I come back tomorrow and what do you know? Mountain Dew is selling for $10,000 a can. It's like, yeah, man, hey, I gave you $1. You said you were going to sell it to me for $5K. I'm going to flip a profit of $5K because it's worth $10K. I'm going to exercise that option. But if second scenario, if I come back the next day and it's worth $1,000, right? I'm not going to exercise the option and pay you $5,000 for a $1,000 asset. I will just let my option expire. That's the key difference between a share that's an unrealized gain or loss, right? 401k, IRAs, stock market, whether you sell, you have to sell, you have to execute a trade to capture the gain or the loss. They're all unrealized. They're paper, right? Our stuff is not on paper. It's actually a realized gain or nothing. It only goes up. Why? Because they're options, not shares. Everybody can understand things when you break it down and keep it super simple. And I use one laminated artifact. So I've got my lead. The back of it is blank. I fill out my financial inventory the exact same way, regardless of the appointment. Could be final expense, Medicare, mortgage protection, IUL, FIA. I don't care. It's the same financial inventory every time. And the one handout I do keep with me, it's just a depiction of the stock market over a 10-year period, with the red line being the S&P 500, and it shows it going up and down like stock markets do. And it shows a green line, which is the annuity, the indexed annuity that participates when the market goes up, but it illustrates how when the market goes down, it stays flat. Okay, so some people are very visual learners, so I always show them that graph. And then some people are more numbers. And so I have a depiction that shows the red and the green line in numbers with an ExxonMobil. And Mike, I can get you these artifacts if you'd like for people.
Yes, please. I'll distribute them.
Yeah, for sure. Because when you show that, people's eyes just light up. Because here's the thing, last year, 2022, most of my clients lost between 20 and 30% of their portfolio. And so if you're approaching retirement years and your portfolio drops by 20%, now you're second guessing your retirement. Because remember, people have an accumulation period and then they have a preservation period. They don't want to go backwards. Their broker that wants them to keep the asset under management will say things like, it's not timing the market, Artemis, it's time in the market. Very clever, right? Not timing, but time in. Oh, you don't want to miss the Fed pivot. Everything's going to bounce back. You don't want to move your money now, fear of missing out, right? So they'll play on your fear and your doubts, and they'll talk about how your money's locked up. The only, quote, downside to indexed annuities is liquidity, right? Because you have 10% access annually, no withdrawal charge. So as long as you plan up front and you leave adequate liquidity behind, it'll do two things. It'll get you through suitability because you don't have to be healthy to get into an indexed annuity. It's nothing to do with your heartbeat. It's everything to do with your cash flow and asset to debt ratio, suitability, right? And suitability means if you leave enough liquidity behind, then they're not stretched and stressed out for needing to get access to their cash. I used to be in the habit of moving about half of what I saw because I just knew that it was going to get through suitability. And if somebody comes back to me and says, hey, I need to get to that 500K, it's like, dude, I left 500K behind. What happened? I only saw you 6 months ago. You blew through $500,000, right? So always be thinking about liquidity and asking the right questions. And, until you can say, I've done 1,000 of these, I've moved millions, say we. Just say we, because we do. We moved almost 2 billion as a company last year, 2 billion, right? And we're on a track to double each year, right? So now it's like, well, we do 4 billion, we do 8 billion, we do 16 billion, we do 32 billion. Pretty soon it's like, we just passed New York Life and Mass Mutual. We just did 100 billion, right? That you have a license to do all of this stuff. You might as well use it. You can do so much with your license. Don't leave half your license sitting on the table. All it is asking the right questions. There's no pixie dust. There's no magic lead. It's all just attitude, activity, and asking those right questions. All right. So off soapbox, that's kind of like a little bit of my backstory. There's nothing special about me. I'm an IT guy. I love data centers. There's no people in there. And now all I do is sit with people all day long and help protect and grow their assets. So if I can do it, I'm 60. You guys are like half my age. Don't let me outwork you. So come on, man. Questions. Why don't we ask some questions? I would just love to hear some questions.
Brad, I have a question first. I want to jump in. What is the, everyone's always looking for that annuity lead, and you're finding all of your annuity leads from your regular appointments, right?
Right.
But how many appointments a week were you running to be able to pick up, 70 plus annuities for the year?
Yeah. So it was probably 20 to 25.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it was mainly mortgage protection. Since I moved to Arizona, this is the other thing. Don't believe what people tell you. I moved to Arizona and people are like, oh, there's no leads there. So I thought, oh man, I can't go to Arizona. There's no leads. I mean, Andrew Taylor bought them all himself. The guy's so filthy rich, he probably doesn't even dial them. He's just buying them and throwing them away or something. There's no leads. So I got here and it's like, oh, come on, there's leads all over the place. So don't let, you prove it to yourself. Don't outthink it. It's not.
I've heard that for years, that there were no leads in
yeah.
Arizona.
I've run face-to-face 100% for, it'll be 5 years in July. I don't do virtual, everything's face-to-face. I drive about 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month in the same county. I don't do travel trips. They dropped me in the middle of the desert with no leads, and I wrote $1 million year after year, and I'm 60. So come on, man. It's not.
Brad, you know what else is impressive too, is you started out buying EverQuote. And I can't tell you how many people have jumped on and said EverQuote, but we hear that about all the different lead sources. This lead source sucks, this lead source, but you broke it down and said, you go through and you're just looking for the gold, and you go through and it's suck, and then you get something.
Right.
But I think all the lead sources are the same way.
For sure.
Every single one of them. And we have so many of them that we have the ability to buy leads from, but we hear it all day long. And I heard it for years about EverQuote, and hearing that you went through it and did the same thing, but that, like every other lead source, is the same.
Yeah.
Who else has questions? We've got Brad on here. I mean, I'm super impressed with what he's done.
Hey Brad, how do you manage your expectations while working with your annuities? Like, and do you only do annuities, do final expense or anything else?
Yeah, so I do everything. I think I ended up #2 for Mutual of Omaha overall, basically because I wrote like 220 accidental policies. I think I wrote some whole life with them, some IULs, but you know, everybody dies. Nobody knows how or when. Accidental is cheap, and it's #1 cause of death up to age 45. Know this. Tell people this. Tell a story and put them in it. Build the trust and close it down. I mean, it's just not that hard. So the main thing is setting up the lead flow within your budget so that it's coming to you at a regular basis so you can get into a rhythm and you don't change that. You can up the activity, but you don't turn it on and turn it off. So I locked out territories as they came available because not everybody makes it. So I'm just like a vulture waiting on the sidelines for somebody to flame out on a county that I want. And boom, I jump in and I grab it and I never let it go. Never let it go. I just keep acquiring more leads and more leads. So now I own all the Medicare leads in Maricopa County. By the way, Maricopa County, where I live, is the biggest county in the state. It's bigger than 6 states. I locked down all the IUL leads, all the FIA leads, all of the Medicare leads, and all of the Nashville Financial Mortgage Protection and Final Expense. And they come to me. I don't have to ask for them. I set it up and they just flow. Okay, so that's super important to be consistent. Like Amy told me in the fall of 2018, it's like, figure it out, get consistent, whatever that means to you, full or part-time, doesn't matter. It's the consistency that matters, because if you don't have a base, you can't measure deviation. So you can't fix the standard deviation from the norm until you establish a base. So you have to establish that base by being consistent with your lead flow, your activity, your in-home, the whole thing. I feel like I'm living Groundhog's Day. I'm Bill Murray in a movie or something. Every day is like the same, and I couldn't be happier. There's no surprises. I already know I won. I'm just enjoying the ride. Good luck trying to catch me, by the way, because I'll be 70 years old and you guys will be 10 years older and you're still like, I don't know how this guy's doing it. It's because I'm really spending, Devin, I'm spending like hours a day strengthening my mind, because there's an emotional roller coaster selling life insurance. And there's a bigger, scarier emotional roller coaster selling things that have index in their title because they're bigger cases. If you buy a ticket, my strong advice, don't buy the ticket. It's a numbers game. It's a mental numbers game. Keep your brain strong, because there's nobody here that can do that for you.
Brad, in the beginning, did you ever go through any difficult times where you, a lot of brand new agents come in, they ride that emotional roller coaster. Did that happen to you earlier on, thinking maybe you couldn't do it, or this wasn't working, or questioning the leads? Did that happen to you at all?
Oh, yeah.
You said he went 12 months without even seeing somebody, didn't he?
Yeah. I went 14 months. I sat with one prospect. It was my firstborn son, and he wanted to think about it, and I took that as a win. So, I mean, after getting past 14 months without actually sitting with the legitimate prospect, when I was in the flow buying leads, the FFL model, I get frustrated just like everybody else, for sure. I mean, it's an $8 EverQuote lead, and it's like all the things I can think about that I could have spent $8 on this bad phone number. I went down the rabbit hole, and so my motto's always been to kind of like creep on people as mentors that I really respect. They may not know they're my mentor, but like Sean Mike is my mentor for positivity. I mean, a dog could crap on his lawn and he's like, free fertilizer. That's fantastic. I mean, how many dogs can come by and crap on my lawn today? This is fantastic. I mean, there's nothing that gets Sean Mike down. So he's definitely a mentor when it comes to the attitude side of the business. And, he works like a fiend. So, but he probably doesn't even know this, but he's been a mentor since the day I got here. Same with Matt Smith, Sean Ruggiero. I've always picked out people I really admire. And then I listen to what they say. I don't miss training, and I take a lot of notes, and then I make it my own. I put my own spin on it. So everybody's got a story, right? So use your life stories, connect with the people that actually are wanting your help, act like you've been there before. Don't get in across the finish line and, celebrate like an idiot. Be more like Barry Sanders, right? He scores the touchdown, he hands the ball back to the official, right? You're supposed to have scored. That's your job, right? So don't act like an idiot. Just go do it again and do it a lot and do it consistently. And then when you look up in a couple of years, it's like, look what I just built. I've got some trophies in the case. No time, got to go, right? Next appointment. That's the key, being consistent and keeping your brain happy. And that's what I do still every day, all the time.
Brad, here's a good question. It was posted by Corinne. How important is it for you, since you've been here, going to the big events, and how has it helped you become better in your craft?
So my first one, I was pretty starstruck. It was in a hotel lobby. We were sitting 8 to a table, round top. And that's when I saw, Amy, and I was just like blown away. And I was like fanboy for sure. I was taking notes, scribbling constant notes, and I still take notes. I never stop doing that. There's always something to learn, and you should want to continue to grow. You're not competing against anyone else other than like who you were yesterday. That's another piece of advice I would give you is, comparison is the thief of joy. But if you're going to really compare to somebody, compare to what you were yesterday or last quarter or last year, and set realistic, smart goals. But, when I first got there and saw the award ceremony, I don't remember much of anything else, but I remember the award ceremony, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to definitely be on that stage. And it's kind of like when you crack the code to get to a certain threshold, you don't want to like have a highlight reel. And like back in the day, when I used to do it, I had 1 month, it was so killer. It's like, nobody cares, right? So you have to be consistent and just know this, somebody's always gunning for you. They should be, right? So once you've made it, there's no stopping, because somebody should be just as hungry, if not hungrier than you. So getting there is not easy, but staying there is harder. And that's what makes it fun, by the way, is knowing that at least I hope half the people on this call are like, wow, I don't know how he does it. And the other are like, I'm coming for you. Bring it. I hope you do, because I want to see you on the stage too. That would be way more fun if we're all walking together. Trust me.
Brad, we have people in their 30s and 40s asking what do you do to strengthen your mind?
And before he answers this, because I have an idea of what he's going to say, and I'm not. I saw that question pop up. I didn't see you asked it, so I'm not talking.
It popped up a few times. That's the only reason why I'm going to entertain it.
Popped up a few times. Most of y'all that are asking this question are, first of all, you already know the answer, like without a shadow of a doubt, because I'm 99.9% sure whatever he says, whether it's listening to an audio, reading a book, watching a YouTube video, it's daily, day in and day out, consistently. So, can we all, can we stop? Like, guys, this shit's not that complicated. Like, really, it isn't that complicated. How would you get your mind right? I don't know. Maybe you read a book. Maybe you do whatever it is you decide to do it every damn day till you get to where you want to get to. But go ahead, Brad. I am dying to hear what you do.
Yeah. So I get up at 4 a.m. every day, even on Sundays, and no alarm.
There we go.
No alarm clock. My body is conditioned to get up at 4 a.m. I know nobody needs me unless they're on the East Coast, and that's fine. I train people on the East Coast at 5 a.m. Pacific time. They're like, can you take my team meeting? It's at 8 o'clock. That would be 5 o'clock for you. It's like, dude, I've been up for an hour. So I'm definitely not sleepy. And I'm very consistent with my routine. I'm always looking for positive reinforcement. I don't watch the news. I don't get caught up in drama and negativity. And that has meant when family, hey, Danielle, I'm going to tell you a story. So I see you right there smiling. All right. So my mom calls me and she's like, oh, I got to tell you about this new medication. It's like, Mom, we talked about this yesterday. You already hit the quota this week for drama. So I got to shut this down. I can only do a half hour a week. And you used that up yesterday. And so, it's not easy, right? You have to set and defend boundaries, or people are going to creep inside your head, maybe with the best intentions, maybe not. But if you don't keep your focus and a positive outline, just like, tomorrow isn't here. So that's just anxiety. Stop it. Yesterday's already in the books. So if you're focused on that, you're getting depressed about woulda, coulda, shoulda. Don't should on yourself. It's all about right now. And so you got to take care of now. And now means staying positive and being consistent and putting massive activity behind that mindset. And if you do that consistently, per Miss Amy, thank you again, Amy, then
Where is Amy?
you've already won. Now you're just like enjoying the ride. And I refuse to go through life focused on a destination and hating the ride. Trust me when I tell you, I jump out of bed with a smile on my face, and I love everything I do every single day, good, bad, and different, because it's just part of the journey.
Dude, I love it, bro. He lost not 80% of the people in the call when he said he gets up at 4 a.m. every day. But dude, I absolutely love your freaking attitude. I don't know many people that would have went 2 months without sitting with a client, let alone 14. And it's not like, but I'm just telling you, like, I tell everybody, if you just stick around long enough to get it, you'll never make less than 200 grand a year, because it's that simple. But dude, it's phenomenal. I'm fired up. This is incredible training.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. I'm just going to tell you some stuff that I've learned. If it feels like a shortcut, it's on a shortcut to becoming property and casualty. You know, all those guys are broke. So unless you want to go do that, if you see a shortcut, you should run for the hills. There is no shortcut. The answer is, you know, ROI, return on investment. Everybody focuses on the R and not the I. You have to invest in your business, and you should know your numbers. And if you're not getting a 2 to 3x, then you should be talking to somebody that is better than you. You're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. If you're the best of those 5, you're in the wrong room. You have to keep upgrading. The people that got you to where you are not necessarily the people that are going to get you where you're going. And so you got to let them go with love and say, hey, I'm going to circle back, but I'm on a mission. So let's put a pin in this. I got to go to the next stage, right? If you're dunking on 7-year-olds, there's no fun in that, right? You're like 2 feet taller. Nobody can even touch the ball. It's not even fair. You're on the wrong court. So you have to keep upgrading all the time, but the same tenets are true. Keep your brain happy, be consistent, put in the numbers, invest, and just don't sweat the small stuff. If you can get to the point where you truly have risen above the noise. Now, don't head fake yourself. I mean, really risen above the noise. Case in point, 2 weeks ago, I had $3 million fall through my fingers. 3 separate $1 million annuities. One, the check was actually at the company ready to be deposited, and they changed their mind. Another one was they just got cold feet because somebody in their family could spell annuity, and they changed their mind and they opted out. They were already approved. Everything was great until it wasn't. And then another one just flamed out, right? Guy came in my office and he said, I've got $1 million, but I'm not going to answer any of your questions. And I said, well, then, you know, I can't help you if you're not going to trust me to answer my questions. And he's like, hey, there's 10,000 people that would take my $1 million. And I said, with all due respect, sir, I'm not one of them, because I'm not going to sacrifice my process and lose my license because there's so many other people out there that need my help. That's hard to do, by the way, but you have to be consistent. You have to stand your ground. And when you miss out on 3 million in like volume, 10% of that, 300K, even at like the lowest comp level, that's like $150,000, $160,000 in commission in 1 week. And it slips through your fingers. Super easy to get negative, by the way. Absolutely. Really easy to look back and say, what could I have done? What should I have done? We have to change everything. Our process is all messed up. No, the process isn't messed up. I mean, it's not. It works. It's just, it's not going to work every time. And you can't get caught up in that negativity and drama. You have to rise above the chargeback, the no-show, the porch, the bad number on the lead, the opportunity that was so close you could taste it and then it's gone. You have to rise above that knowing, and you really need to have some serious self-talk. Sarah, I can see you just barely. Your eyes are almost above the screen. I can see you, Sarah Serrato. If you can rise above that noise, then stay above it. There you are. And then you're going to be good, right? Because nothing can actually touch you. It's kind of like a process patent. It's like, oh, you just copied my process. That was 1.0. I'm on 5.0. Good luck catching up to me, because by the time you're on 2, I'm on 7. Right? There's no catching me. I'm golden. The only thing that scares me is health issues and distractions, right? Because everything else I can manage. I already know that it's working. I have money, I can buy leads, I have energy, I can sit with people. I genuinely do care. So I got that going for me. That's kind of your secret weapon, right? Empathy. It's not about you, it's about the people you sit with. It doesn't matter how interesting you are, nobody cares. Be interested, not interesting, right? And put the numbers in your favor and keep your brain happy. But just figure it out you'll hear this clicking sound. I think I finally risen above the noise. Nothing actually gets me down anymore. I'm tracking my numbers. I'm getting it. We're a little up, we're a little down, but nothing like, $1 million 3 times in a row in 1 week doesn't get you down. You're golden. Nothing's going to get you down. Get there mentally as soon as possible. Your body will catch up.
There you go. I love it, Brad. Before we hang up, let me see. Amy was
Hold
gonna-
on, Brad. Yeah, I got him. Okay. Hey, Brad.
Hi, Amy. How you doing? Rock
I
star.
am great. Dude, I didn't know someone could talk faster than me, for real. Like, you're amazing. No, I want
You
to
still
tell you.
starstruck, bro?
Yeah, I'm still starstruck. Every time I see her, I get this big smile on my face. And I find her in a crowded room, give her a big hug. She's my idol. Yeah.
I love
Wait,
it.
was it 2018 or 2019?
We were 2018 in Des Moines, but 2019 when I sat in the award ceremony, because I did my first policy July 15th, 2018.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was sending you a text. I said, did you ever think that when you had that conversation, you would be now where you are today when we
No,
had that conversation? And
no. I remember reaching out to Nicole Fleming, Matt Smith's operations manager, and I told her, hey, I just sold 2 policies in one house. Is that okay? And she's like, yeah, actually, it's more than okay. You want to try to do that a lot, by the way. And I was just so tickled pink that, I'm with an organization that actually gives information freely. It's like, hey, I just learned a secret. Let me share it with you. And that's what I got from you, Amy. It's like, hey, I'm at the top of my game. While I'm sitting next to her on the bus, people were texting her, can I buy a policy? It's like, son of a bitch. Is that how it works? Is the fish actually jump in your boat at some point? You just drop the pole and then live fish are just like jumping in the boat? How does that work?
sometimes. But I was going to ask you a question. I was going to ask you, what do you think that has made you, like, besides the questions you ask, like, people have to trust you, like, and if you're building rapport so quickly, what do you think the one thing that you've done to be able to, like, produce so much in annuities? Like, what do you think the secret is with that part for everyone?
Well, I look like I should know what I'm doing because I'm old. I've earned all these wrinkles and this gray hair. So, it's hard to fake that, but I could still mess it up. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to ask the question. Somebody asked me to help protect their retirement. And if I don't know, I have no problem saying I don't know, but I will be your point of contact and I will get that answer for you. You've got one throat to choke, that's me. Or one hand to shake would be preferable. But I mean, I don't know everything, but I know people that do. And we're a huge nationwide organization. I can tap into all that stuff. So I do speak with confidence about what I know. And I'm not afraid to say that I don't know, but I will figure it out. And that's kind of an ego thing. When people will say, like partial truths or what they think to be true and try to pull it off. And people do the sniff test, they'll figure out so quickly. That's why I say, don't say I until you actually can back it up. Just say we, because we actually do a lot. I mean, we're massive. We're a market disruptor on the life. Just watch. We're going to be a market disruptor in everything our license can do. Just watch. You just watch.
Well, and Brad, to piggyback on that, guys, I think a lot of times when you're really good, the reason I feel, Brad, that I was so good at mortgage protection is because it made so much sense to me and I truly believed in what it does.
Yeah.
And then when I learned the annuities and saw what they did for people, I was so passionate about it. It's hard not to trust you. And I feel like that's your demeanor. You know how powerful that tool is. And when you're 1,000,000% convinced that this is the best plan, best product for a client, it's hard for them not to trust you and sense that. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. So, I mean, and I tell stories, like I put my mom's retirement in it, which I did. The first annuity I wrote was on my wife. She found $38,000 in the seat cushions in a Fidelity old orphan 401k. She's like, hey, why don't you try your magic on this thing? So, I mean, I sell the stuff I buy. I have 6 policies. I pay on 11. I've got one of everything. I know how they work, and I feel really passionate about people not losing their money. And I mean, I know the market goes up 3/4 of the time. The quarter that it goes down, it's when that happens that can be so devastating for people. And so just telling them with conviction what I say and how I say it really matters. And here's the other thing, Amy, I'll tell you this. When I was drinking, I dreaded coming home because there was like, you know, how you doing, right? What's going on? How was your day, right? Now, when I come home, there's a look of love and appreciation. And I'm addicted to it. I just swapped one addiction for another. I'm addicted to that loving look of trust and appreciation for how hard I work for our family. And it drives me to continue to try to be a better man for my family. But I'll blame it on Patty. Those loving eyes, they're like addicting, man. I got no.
Well, she's a person. So we had to, Adriel wants to say hi to you. Hi.
Hi, Adriel. How are you doing?
We had the chance of hanging out with you guys in Hawaii, had an amazing time, and you know, look forward to learning. I appreciate so much of you sharing your thoughts tonight. So try to I need the recording for sure.
Absolutely.
Great job, Brad.
Brad, thank you so much. We appreciate you being on. Everyone,
Mike, do you mind if I ask Brad a question real quick?
well, real quick. We
Okay.
gotta hang up.
Brad, I think I remember meeting you, man, like right in 2018 when things were getting ready to change. But when you stopped drinking, when did you notice? How long did it take? Did you notice any difference in your momentum, or was it automatic?
Automatic. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a functional alcoholic. Like, at least I thought that I was like producing enough to like fool everybody, but I would take time off when I had a quote good day or bad day. And so I really wasn't giving it my all. And as soon as I'm very competitive, by the way. I do not like to lose, and I'm stubborn as hell. I'm Irish and German, so go figure that out. I mean, once I started winning, it's like game on. I'm just like, you know, tailpipes, right? But I knew right away when, you know, I no longer woke up with a hangover, and every day I really was in the best position to just continue to up the game constantly. I just kept pouring more leads and more time and running appointments at 10 o'clock at night and, you know, working 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, right? 7 days a week.
7 days.
No days off. This is my company. Why would I take a day off? I'm just crushing it. Oh, let me call timeout. That's idiotic. I mean, I'm not an idiot. So when I'm winning, I'm going to keep working. It's when that you break that momentum that you really are, you can really fall prey to some negative thoughts, and it's hard to get it. So trust me when I tell you, when you get the momentum, treat it with respect, because it's hard to get, easy to lose. And the minute I stopped drinking before February, and I was number 106 in the country, I knew that I was going to get in the top 100. I just didn't know I was going to end up number 6. So 2019 was number 6. 2020 was number 2. 2021 was number 6 again, damn it. And 2022 was number 5. So a 4 years in the field running average, all in time produced annuities in life. I've always done Hall of Fame on the life side, but then I run up the score on the annuity side. But I've averaged in the top 5 for all agents since I've been in the field face to face, running the exact same leads that you guys are running. I'm just running them with a different mindset at a different speed. So run fast and break shit. Like
I appreciate
you. We'll end with that. Thank you so much, Brad. Everyone.
Thank you, Brad.
See you guys next Monday.
Thank you, Brad.